Kamala Harris tells a giant lie about dead war hero John McCain. Doesn't matter what you think of John McCain. That's not what I'm saying about that. That has nothing to do with this, what we think of John McCain. This is about what you think. First of all, if you think he's a hero, I do think he's a hero. And did Kamala Harris lie about him for political gain? Yes, she just did. Welcome to Doug in Exile. We're going to go to MEgan McCain, who used to be on The View, got interviewed and asked if she believed that Kamala Harris's story is true.
Late into the night, and in the Senate, you walk onto the Senate floor, and there are these big wooden ornate doors, and those ornate doors opened, and John McCain came out. He's going after me. And I'm going back after him.
Yeah, massive lie. What a liar. I don't have to even hear the rest of the story. We're going to get back to it, but what an exaggerator. She has no credibility. Of course, she would come up with a personal story that no one can check out. And MEgan McCain is listening to this entire story. And we're going to ask her simply, does it sound like something your father would do?
I'm going back after him. And that was it. And this is what the public saw. And then I step onto the floor of the well of the Senate later that day. We had votes. And I passed by John McCain. And he looks at me and he says, "Kid, come over here."
Yeah, she's nodding, so you know it's not true. Nodding and smiling by a Democrat with no credibility. She's not a person with a strong track record of telling the truth.
You're going to make a great senator.
I'm not thrilled with this because I just find that maybe it did happen. To me, it doesn't sound like him.
Doesn't sound like him. That's not going far enough, though. She's going to go a little farther than that. I'm only saying weird if I remember a personal private story with someone and the only part that I remember, and I've never brought this up before, is that the guy said, "Doug, you're going to make a great senator one day." Really? What a strange detail, flattering yourself to even tell other people that, even if someone did compliment you in a very high way. It's very strange for me to tell you what someone and I have had noteworthy people compliment me. It would tell you a lot more about me if I repeated that story to you, about someone saying how great I was. What a weirdo. And Kamala Harris is exactly a weirdo for doing that. What a scum. I remember this personally. Maybe John McCain wanted you to keep it private. He'd have said it from a microphone where everyone could hear it if he wanted you to share it on a campaign trail, you duplicitous ass.
And I tweeted after I saw it that I'm really just, for me personally, on a personal level, Democrats really want to turn my dad into a progressive liberal that
I think some Republicans want to do it too. If you look at McCain stuff, he's middle of the road, might be a rhino. I don't care. He was known as the Maverick. Everything was fine with him until after he died. And Trump turned on him and said, they didn't care for each other. And that's okay. The whole world does not have to adore Trump. And the whole world doesn't have to adore John McCain either. I'm fine with Kerry Lake throwing him under the bus. Fine. There's going to be political repercussions if you do that. But Kamala Harris coming in and making it sound like she's the most John McCain between Trump, who's a true maverick, and even Kerry Lake, who wants to serve Arizona. And Kamala Harris wants to destroy human life in Arizona. And she's a liar.
6 years after his death, he's now just the most liberal progressive that ever existed when he's one of the most conservative senators in American modern history.
That's MEgan McCain. She used to be on The View. I wonder why everything in the world keeps revolving around The View and coming back to my show. I cannot escape The View.
It's getting to the point of being disrespectful the way everyone is talking about him, because I find so much of it it just doesn't sound like him. And
yeah, she would know if it sounded like him or not. So fine, that's good enough for me. Didn't sound like him. I'm not even a big fan of MEgan McCain. I think she's cool. I'm just saying, I think she's allowed to think her daddy's cool. I think she's allowed to think her daddy was a war hero. Her daddy's gone. And she's coming out and kind of pushing back on Democrats, going, hey, easy on the revisionist history, guys. Okay, he wasn't some progressive liberal.
Obviously incredibly close, and I worked with him both professionally and we were very close personally, and it's just it's hard. I don't like it. And I remember what he actually said about Vice President Harris in private.
Oh, he actually did say something about Kamala Harris in private, by the way, and nothing like the flattery that she heard about. So now we have two competing personal stories that are not on the record. We have what Kamala Harris says John McCain told her, and we have what MEgan McCain says John McCain told her about Kamala Harris. Which one is more accurate, I wonder?
actually was like remembering a specific dinner party was something he said, which I don't want to be disrespectful or uncouth and share it right here, but like it just sounds like not real to me.
So she heard a personal statement from her dad about John McCain that makes that other story by Kamala Harris sound like it's not him, meaning Kamala Harris is lying about a dead war hero.
I'll ask you a question about it. You can pass, of course. Is what she said in characterizing what she claimed was a conversation with your dad, he said you make a great senator, is that consistent with your sense of what he thought of her?
No, not at all.
Simply no. So you can take that sentiment home and you can just end this video now. We'll keep going a little more. Bottom line is, does him saying that she's a great senator sound like something that reflected him? And she said no, flat out no. That's not what he thought of her. So I think a daughter has a right to defend the rights, the honor of her dad. Kamala Harris is a liar, and she's lying about a dead war hero, and she's doing it for political gain because she thinks Arizonans are stupid. And if you vote for Kamala Harris, I'll let you put the rest of it together. And it's time for us to put our distances, put our anger about John McCain and MEgan McCain aside. It's time for Carrie Lake to put it aside against John McCain. It's time for Trump to put it aside because the country's at stake. You better get over it. Arizona, Trump versus rhinos. Everyone get over it. Vote for Trump, or you don't care about America. That includes MEgan McCain. You gotta support him.
And there's one thing in particular. There's one dinner that I was at with him and some other politicians. I can remember very specifically something he said about her. And again, I don't want to like get into some kind of match with the Harris campaign, but I just like, he was not a Democrat. He was so far from it. And her stance on Israel alone would gross him out.
So now to the Democrats that are trying to use John McCain, just your position, your anti-Israel, anti-Jew position on Israel alone would freak John McCain out. He was very pro-Israel.
So like, I just, and Afghanistan and the economy and the border, like I just.
That sounds like a good campaign to me. Afghanistan, economy and the border. John McCain is on Trump's side. He would not be on Kamala Harris's side on Afghanistan, the economy, or the border. That's what unites all of us on the right, guys. That's what unites the rhinos even with the Trump supporters.
And I also think it's just very strange that like, Democrats can't get any other way to prove their bipartisan like bona fides other than bringing up a dead senator.
Yeah, they're not going to go to Kamala Harris's record. If they can, they're going to try and take one little glow of John McCain's distant memory and try and cast him onto Kamala Harris. The Obama thing about complaining to black men and trying to peer pressure them into voting for her didn't work.
Like, have you done nothing else in your life? You have this like obscure story that I've never heard her say, I've never heard, period. Maybe it did happen, but like I've never heard it before. She never felt the need to share it before, except 24 days before the election in Arizona.
Yeah, it's never been out in the public. This is the first time she said it, first time it's been beneficial to her campaign. It's a lie.
I don't know when you're, for by all intents and purposes, from everything I've heard from you and many other places that's being reported, she's flatlining with independents.
Flatline with independents. Because she lies and she's lying again, she needs to flatline more. Every Arizonan, if you're a maverick, if you're pro John McCain, you should turn your back on Kamala Harris because she is lying about that war hero. I'm Doug in exile.